The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRCMedia, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
This week on FRCmedia News, we preview the opening of school next week in the Fall River Public Schools, while teachers will return without a new contract. And early in-person voting for the state primary begins this weekend. All this and more coming up. It's Thursday, August 22nd, 2024. This is FRCmedia News. I'm Keith Tebow. FRCmedia is taking a look at what parents and students can expect from city schools when the new year begins next week. We wrap up our series by previewing what's ahead at the Fall River Public Schools. The district's got a new leader as Dr. Tracy Curley stepped in as superintendent last month. She admits there's a lot to learn in this new role, but with 15 years of experience in the district, she's been able to hit the ground running. The district is expected to see a marked increase in enrollment this academic year, likely topping 11,000 students. Dr. Curley says parents see the improvements being made in the level of education in Fall River and are not seeking alternatives.
I talked to so many people in other districts who's like they're seeing a decrease in enrollment. It's really forced us to reflect on the kinds of things that are making a difference here. And certainly we know that a new Durfee High School for us has made a difference, where we've seen increased enrollment at the high school level. The need to open a new school in opening the West Stall was certainly a signal to us that, like, ooh, something's going on here. I really think that I think we have less people potentially who are looking elsewhere. We certainly have less students, maybe coming out of the 8th grade who are looking elsewhere, but people are staying, and also people are moving here. And when they're moving here, they're not looking for an alternative. And I think that says something pretty special about what they're finding in our schools.
The increase in enrollment has placed a strain on some of the city's elementary schools to stretch capacity to meet the need. A case in point is the Fonseca School, which has a service area that stretches through the middle of the city from the waterfront to the west to the north Watuppa Pond to the east. To ease strain, the district is reopening the Westall School on Maple Street as a K-5 community school.
I love the idea of a neighborhood school. When you have as many kids as we will over at the Westall who are able to walk to school, potentially be part of some kind of walking school bus, maybe their parents are walking them. There's something really special about that when students are in school all day with their peers, and they are the same students who live a block away, 3 blocks away, and you can get together after school. I think there's something really special about that. And that's not the case in all of our schools, right? So it's not to say that in some of our bigger schools, students are missing out on something, because what those schools do is something really special in terms of building community and making that school the hub for a wider range of students. But when we're able to do it, as we are over at the Westall, I think it just it adds something to the neighborhood as well, to have the students who are going and attending school there be part of that neighborhood, so that at a neighborhood association meeting, it could be the same crowd as at a PTO meeting, and there's that common interest. So it's pretty exciting for us. I'm happy that we're able to provide it.
The district is also continuing its efforts to grow its pre-K early childhood offerings, placing classes at a new location at 2501 South Main Street in the South End, as well as leasing space at the former Bishop Connolly High School on Ellsbury Street.
Right now, our pre-K enrollment is very much compliance-driven. It's driven, by students coming out of early intervention who require that pre-K experience in terms of special ed that we're providing. And so all of our classrooms right now are classrooms that have been established for that purpose. We certainly have an eye on expansion of pre-K beyond what is needed and required. And I think the idea there will really be partnering, because any kind of universal pre-K really becomes a function of what an entire community can do, not what the Fall River Public Schools can do, but what the city of Fall River can do, and all of the organizations within it. And so we're seeing that already with a new preschool experience, a new building that's being built through People Incorporated, and that's exciting. That's a community coming together.
As in years past, the school committee will begin the new year with many teaching positions unfilled. Dr. Curley says despite those who transitioned from Fall River for other teaching opportunities, the district remains committed to investing in teachers, and those who stay value the opportunity Fall River offers.
We do reflect a lot on what brings people back to us, what brings people here in the first place, and I really do think that the greatest piece is really the testimony of people who work here, because as strained as things can be during a negotiation period, people come here because they enjoy working here. They enjoy our students, they enjoy our families, they enjoy the supports that we're able to provide. And I know from, I don't live in Fall River, and so my children go to school in a different town, and when I talk to people there, they're so impressed by the layers of support that we have, whether it's in buildings, school-specific new teacher support, or whether it's district-wide programming, new teacher support, whether it's the professional development, the coaching that goes on real-time in classrooms. And I think those are the things that people hear about, they learn about, their friends are here doing it, and they want to be a part of it.
When the year starts, the district will implement a policy restricting cell phone use during school hours at the middle schools and BMC Durfee High School. That will start later in September. Dr. Curley says the policy should not be seen as a punishment.
We see this as something supportive of students. It's not going to feel like that to the average 14, 15, 17-year-old. It is not going to feel supportive at first. But I know that for when we looked at the survey data, even though students didn't want to hand over their phones, they were readily discussing this idea that, like, yeah, but you're right. I think I would pay attention more. I think that it is a distraction for me in school. So I feel like if we're able to provide some consistency in that messaging, that we're continually reminding students and their families, because I think families are a little anxious about students not having their phones available. If we're able to maintain some consistency in that messaging and support for the implementation, I think we'll get a lot of people just a month, 2 months, 6 months from now saying, yeah, it was 100% the right thing.
With such a diverse student population, Dr. Curley says the district remains committed to including parents as much as possible in the education of their children.
We've never met parents who don't want what's best for their kids, right? Everybody does. And I think that where we best serve our students is that we are very respectful of where parents are and how they're approaching that support for their student, and have respect for that. I think the biggest mistake we can make is assume that people don't care, or assume that people aren't able to support their students and things like that. And we're making great strides and making sure that that's not how we approach the work. We need to have respect for our parents and all of the work that they are doing for students. And again, bridge the gap a little bit, come to some common understanding about how we can work together to support students.
Most students will begin school next Wednesday, with pre-K and kindergarten students beginning after Labor Day. The new school year in Fall River will open with teachers returning to the classroom without a contract. The latest bargaining session between the Fall River Educators Association and the city did not yield an agreement. Both sides are still apart on compensation based on teacher seniority. The city is proposing a 7% increase for lower-level teachers in year 1, with an 8% increase for those on the higher steps. For years 2 and 3, the city is proposing 5% increases across the board. The union is proposing increases of 8 and 9% in year 1, with 9 and 10% hikes in years 2 and 3. FREA President Keith Michon says Fall River teachers are grossly underpaid compared to teachers in other gateway cities, and teachers will report to work as scheduled on Wednesday.
I thought there was a sense of urgency a couple weeks ago, but after yesterday, I didn't feel there was a sense of urgency. There's a lot of proposals that haven't been responded to yet, and we expected that to happen yesterday. So we're getting closer on the COLA, but that's only one of over 80 proposals that we have on the table. And really, my members, they want to see the full package. Members are feeling anxious. They're feeling disrespected in a lot of ways. We know that the district's in a position to really make right on a lot of things. And we had the opportunity to make this decision in the spring, and we could use that to recruit people, but we missed that opportunity. And through the summer, we continued to have that opportunity. And now we're at a point where it's impacting morale. And now we're starting the year off. And the teachers are very committed to their students, and that's keeping them going. But they feel disrespected by the administration and the school committee.
Diamond Regional Vocational Technical High School will be looking for a new principal. Assistant Superintendent Principal Andrew Rebello is resigning and will become Assistant Superintendent at the Bristol Plymouth Regional Technical School in Taunton. Mr. Rebello will remain on board as the school begins classes next week. He plans to start his new position on September 9th. Mr. Rebello said it was a difficult decision to leave Diamond, but one he felt he needed to make for his future.
I think we have brought Diamond as far as we could go within my current position. You know, I'm ready for the next step. And with a lot of our success, that's all credited to our students and our teachers. With that success has come a lot of opportunities for me, and I'm thankful for that. A lot that I didn't consider, and some that I turned down. But as the year wore on, I really, you know, more and more was ready for that next step, and that next step and that opportunity at Diamond is not an option right now. So when Bristol Plymouth presented itself, it definitely is a compelling opportunity that I want to pursue at this time.
Mr. Rebello worked his way up the leadership ranks at Diamond, starting as a guidance counselor, advancing as an assistant principal, and then principal. Diamond Superintendent Director Brian Bentley said he respects Mr. Rebello's decision to move on.
I always encouraged him, though, because of his age, and that's not a bad thing, and his career ambitions, which is a good thing. I encouraged him that, you know, should something come up, you know, you may want to pursue that. Did he want to do that? Not really. His love was always for Diamond. He wanted to stay here, and then an opportunity came up. It presented itself in the form of Bristol Plymouth. The impact Andrew leaves behind is one of connections with students, connections with the families. He always had a high interest in our sports teams here and encouraging the student athletes to do their best to represent Diamond the best they can be. So he has made an impact.
Mr. Bentley said he and Assistant Principal Michael Zajac will split the duties as principal for the time being.
Knowing that where I sit in a building that I'm in and where he sits, which is in the original Diamond building, just to be on the same page, he and I have met. So day-to-day activities that would involve a leadership decision resulting in the principal making one, that would be Mr. Zajac's. He would do that, as that's in his job description. Anything other than that, Mr. Zajac would be coming to me saying, okay, this is a situation that's presented itself, this is what's going on. And it's not because Mr. Zajac doesn't know, he does know, very knowledgeable. It's just that overseeing him and the two of us working together, we feel is a good collaboration.
Mr. Bentley said the principal's job opening will be posted next week, with a permanent principal hoped to be appointed in 4 to 6 weeks. During his tenure at Diamond, Mr. Rebello received many accolades, and the school has been recognized as one of the best high schools in the country by U.S. News and World Report. Mr. Rebello said the accolades deserve to go to the school's teachers and students.
Diamond has a great foundation, has a great culture as far as our life-ready mission to continue this success moving forward. So it's not about the awards or accolades. It's about making sure that we have an exceptional world-class education for our students, something that we've been able to do for a very long time. As I open my heart up to this new community at Bristol Plymouth, my heart will never close for Diamond. You know, I cherish the memories. I cherish all the folks that I built relationships with over the years. It will never leave me, especially being the school that I started my career at. So yeah, my heart will never close for the Diamond community and the incredible work that's happening here.
Movement has been made in the future of St. Anne's Hospital in Fall River. Governor Maura Healey last week announced St. Anne's, along with 4 other hospitals owned by Stewart Healthcare, will be sold to new owners as part of Stewart's bankruptcy proceedings. St. Anne's and Morton Hospital in Taunton have offers to be purchased by Rhode Island's Lifespan Health System.
Today, I'm pleased to say we're closing the book on Stewart once and for all in Massachusetts. Good riddance and goodbye. That is a good thing. It's a long time coming. We're here. It's a new chapter starting today, a new chapter for patients and residents, a new chapter for our great healthcare workers, our incredible nurses, healthcare workers, all the staff, the people who make our hospitals actually run. And I believe as well, it is not just a new chapter, but it is a better chapter in terms of what it is going to do for patient care. I think it's a win for Massachusetts. It's a win for Massachusetts because we got rid of a really bad operator. But what we have left are incredible doctors and nurses and staff who've worked and given their blood, sweat, and tears at these Stewart hospitals because they want to provide care. We have those human assets. They're going to continue to work. And they're going to be working with and for quality hospital operators who understand the way you provide quality care to residents and communities.
We'll have more FRC Media News after this.
Here are some job descriptions on the latest hot jobs list from the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center. Commercial Sales Manager. AutoZone, located at 870 North Main Street, is seeking a full-time commercial sales manager responsible for driving the commercial sales within the AutoZone location. Job number 213-13783. Bank Teller Trainee. Rockland Trust, located at 768 Robeson Street, is looking for a full-time bank teller trainee responsible for providing efficient, effective, and courteous customer service while performing a variety of transactions. Job number 213-13360. Registered Nurse Clinical Team Lead. Vitra Health, located at 1 Father de Valles Boulevard, seeks a full-time registered nurse clinical team lead responsible for overseeing clinical field staff across the Fall River region. Job number 213-13840. Donor Center Technician. Biomat USA, located at 370 Rhode Island Avenue, is looking for a full-time donor center technician. For more information, call 508-675-4945. Atlantis Charter School, located at 991 Jefferson Street, has an immediate need for the following full and part-time positions. Elementary Grade 3 Teacher. Job number 213-08590. After School Program Instructor. Job number 213-08591. For more information about these or other positions, visit Mass Hire JobQuest at jobquest.dcs.eol.mass.gov or call the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000.
Welcome back. Unemployment in Fall River spiked in July. The local jobless rate in the city sits at 6.4%, up from 5.7% in June. The unemployment rate in Fall River in July of 2023 was 5.1%. All communities surrounding Fall River and other gateway cities saw similar increases in unemployment. Statewide, the Massachusetts unemployment rate also edged up 0.3% to 3.5%. The Massachusetts state primary is less than 2 weeks away on Tuesday, September 3rd. Voters in Fall River can start voting early in person beginning this Saturday.
We will have 7 consecutive days of in-person early voting starting on Saturday, August 24th, and it's going to run all the way through Friday, August 30th. I've set the weekend hours from 9 a.m. until 3 p.m. and during the week, the hours will be from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. and I have parking spaces reserved outside of the Sullivan Drive entrance for voters. Since November 2016, it's been slowly declining with the number of voters who have been voting early in person. Since the inception of early voting by mail, the number of voters taking advantage of that as their primary option to vote has gone up significantly. So the number of people voting early in person has gone down gradually. Back in November 2016, we probably had about maybe 1,300 people voting early in person, and that has gone down to probably maybe 150, I think, going back to 2022. So the numbers have not been there for people who are voting early in person.
Those who wish to vote by mail for the primary need to apply by the end of business day this Monday, August 26th. Mr. Lyon says the vote by mail option is very popular.
We have, as of right now, probably about 7,400 people who have applied for a mail-in ballot for the state primary. The return rate has been relatively slower than I would like it to be, so if you have your ballot at home, please return it as soon as possible. Fill out your ballot, sign the affidavit, and you can return it several different ways. There is a postage-paid envelope included in your ballot package. We have the ballot drop box located right outside of the 3rd Street entrance outside of Government Center, and you can return it directly to the office window here on the 6th floor of Government Center. You can also return your ballot directly to the in-person early voting center here at Government Center in the atrium during that week of in-person early voting. So you have several options to return your ballot to the Board of Elections, but it must be received by 8 p.m. on Tuesday, September 3rd. That is the deadline to return your mail-in ballot.
The primary will not feature many contested races this year, but Mr. Lyon says it's still important to vote.
When candidates are running unopposed, especially when it comes to both the Democratic, Republican, and Libertarian primaries this year, that sometimes inhibits, I want to say, the voter participation rate. So when it comes to the famous question in regards to my prediction, I would have to optimistically say it's probably going to be the same voter turnout somewhere in the mid to upper teens as we had during the presidential primary. The only contested race on the Democratic primary ballot is for Register of Deeds between Registrar McDonald and Attorney Carrero. For the Republican primary ballot, the only contested race is for the Republican nomination for United States Senate. And there are no candidates who have filed to run for any office on the Libertarian primary ballot. That has been a very common question coming into my office. So if you're unenrolled, before you decide to select which primary ballot, please take some time to take a look at the specimen ballots, which I have posted on the Board of Elections website, before you decide to make your decision which primary you would like to vote in. It's always good to be informed before you make your primary ballot selection.
We'll wrap up this edition of FRC Media News right after this.
My name is David Perry. I'm the president of the Greater Fall River Food Pantry. And what we do here is we provide food to clients that are in need. We're always trying to get more people involved in what we're doing. And we're trying to concentrate on youth, and it's all about helping people, and that's what we should all be doing, is helping someone. So it's a great opportunity for them to, come down here and give us a couple of hours a week. It's not long; it's 2 hours a day, and once they start volunteering, it's like a family. It really is. So getting these younger people involved, it's just great. It's great to see. It's great to have younger generations seeing what's going on in the real world, as we call it, and helping out.
I've gotten a new outlook on the community. I've been able to see all sides, helped me learn just a lot about Fall River as a whole.
We like to get students in from 14 years of age and older. It's not about the Greater Fall River Community Food Pantry. It's about what the Greater Fall River Community Food Pantry does as an outreach. We want to reach out to the community. Most schools require that the students put in volunteer hours. We're a perfect example of receiving those students, and that way they get their hours accredited, and it gives them a good learning experience.
Volunteering here made you feel good, felt like you were helping out the community, and also it really helped me out with making my application stand out with having volunteer hours on them. Like when I'm applying for jobs, I've been on the hunt right now, and I've done a lot more interviews since I did charity work here. Makes you really stand out, and also just feels good helping out the community.
I love hearing other people's lives, how other people live, other people's families. It's interesting, and I really like to do this work.
Come down and see what it's like. come down and take an opportunity to help someone else. Come and see what's really happening in the world out there.
That's all for this edition of FRC Media News. Please visit our website at frmedia.org for all the latest news and local information. FRC Media News airs Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Fridays at 5:30 p.m. For all of us here at FRC Media News, have a great weekend. We'll see you next Thursday.